Hello everybody, I'm Elwirfy and today we are back playing some more Stories from the Soul, the Gun Dog. I'm really happy to get out and we're going to use a mech, I think, and we're going to fly around and save the world. But right now we have to confront Henson, hopefully about the captain is my goal. So let's get in there and see what it goes on. Are you okay? There's a slight delay, but a second after you ask Henson realizes, sorry, I can't read today. There's a slight delay, but a second after you ask, Henson releases his grip on the flight sticks and turns to face you. The intense expression he had suddenly replaced by his normal countenance. I think part of the problem I'm having trouble with reading, guys, I just thought of it, is because there's not really commas. Like, or at least there are, but it doesn't, it's not written the way that I write, I think is the problem. What? I was just asking if you were okay. Of course I'm okay. What are you talking about? We're not all cowards like you who can't even launch an AF. You take a deep breath and exhale slowly as you look away. You weren't sure what you'd been expecting, but at least Henson seemed like his normal self. Thankfully, any follow-up from him is cut off by Vanessa's face appearing on the comm screen and her voice on the frame speakers. Okay. Gundog 1, this is Lieutenant Lord. It's 1630 Jovian Standard and the mission has begun. Please confirm you're ready for launch. Copy that, Lieutenant Lord. This is Ensign Cruz in Gundog 1. All systems ready for launch and waiting on authorization. Understood. Authority granted. Stand by whilst you're transported for takeoff. Although the Juno's monitors haven't yet turned on, yet you can still tell that the reverberators you feel are coming from it are being... Oh, thank God. I'm going to repeat that because that was kind of loud. Although the Juno's monitors haven't turned on yet, you can tell that the reverberators you feel are coming from it being lowered from the hangar and out of the underside of the ship. Activating all systems. Now. All at once the monitors come to life, illuminating you and Henson with their glow. Okay, so that's probably like the door. Gundog 1, ready. Gundog 1 releasing restraints. Oh, that's so cool. They're just going to be stuck like that? Okay. Gundog 1 launching. Alright, we're in space. I'm excited. We're in space. Once the armored frame is free from its restraints, Henson slams the flight sticks forward in unison, sending the Juno hurtling away from the Gundog, causing it to shake with the acceleration. As the cockpit shudders, you unconsciously grab onto the straps, keeping you in the passenger seat, and squeeze them tightly. With the frame continuing to accelerate, you do your best to keep a neutral expression, but despite this, Henson looks across to you and notices your grim appearance. What's the matter, Lieutenant? Feeling flight sick already? No, I'm fine. You lie. Sure. Just sit back and watch how a real pilot handles an AF. Although you thought Henson had launched at maximum thrust, he somehow manages to find an extra burst of acceleration, causing the cockpit to shake further, doing nothing to help the nausea you feel. If you throw up, sir, your helmet stays on. Eventually, Henson eases up on the acceleration and the juddering stops. Although you're still slightly nauseous, you slowly begin to feel less like the little food you've had time for today, while reappearing inside your helmet. As the Juno continues to cruise forwards, you and Henson both sit in the near silence of the cockpit. With no real indication of distance between you and the O'Brien, or the speed you're traveling, it's difficult for you to keep track of time, and the journey drags on. Well, it's 300 kilometers. There's no way for you to be exact, but it feels like at least half an hour has passed with neither of you saying anything. Oh, that's a great picture. Eventually, the oppressive silence, coupled with your increasingly desperate desire for distortion, forces you to think about something you never thought you'd do. Willingly start a conversation with Henson. That's awesome. Well, we have to tell him about the report. As the two of you continue to sit in silence, and you watch Henson making the occasional minute adjustments to the flight path of the Juno, you realize something. When you'd read the report in the captain's quarters, you'd been shocked, hit with a gut punch of realization what happened to you at the battle above Lunar could all be traced back to one woman, Mary's Bartimeus, your captain. Except, it wasn't just you who had been there that day. You weren't the only one who was on board the ship that had been affected by her actions. Hansen had fought for his life as the Kleik flight was wiped out around him, and he had to survive in the combat zone for over 12 hours. What had happened to Hansen, what he blamed you for, it hadn't been your fault. Now finally you knew whose fault it was. Oh yeah. Let's throw her out to dry, right? The realization hung over you as you grappled with the situation. It's not like you were any closer to dealing with this information. Was there even any way that knowing could bring you closure? It couldn't bring back the Kalak flight or any of the other pilots or crew of the ships that had been lost. But still, if someone else had known, you would have wanted them. Would you have wanted them to tell you? Would telling Hansen do you any good? Would it do any for him? These thoughts almost overwhelm you as you try to wrestle with what you should do until you suddenly just blurt out, "When I was in the captain's quarters, I found a report." What? Oh, it moved. You take a deep breath. You started now, and there was no going back. "When I was in the captain's quarters, looking for the codes to reactivate the Gundog, I found a report in the captain's desk." Yeah, okay. Why are you telling me this? "It was about the battle above Lunar 4 years ago." As soon as you mention the battle, you hear Hansen take a sharp intake of breath, and his flight sticks creak as he squeezes both of them. In an instant, his whole body goes rigid. Oh shit. "It was about the reason the enemy were able to outflank us, why they were able to break through E-field." Oh my god, dude, you're building it up too much. Just tell him what happened. You see Hansen's expression shift into a grimace, but he still doesn't say anything. "It was because Captain Bartimeus, she was Rear Admiral Bartimeus back then. She made an order that pulled the ships away from our rear defense line. It left us wide open. It's why..." Why the hell are you telling me about this? Hansen yells, his fist lashing out, striking the control panel to his left side. Because, it was her. She's the reason. She's the reason why we had to deal with what we dealt with. She's responsible. Who cares? What difference does it make? It's this whole time it was... I know what this is. This is just you trying to worm your way out of your responsibility. Okay. Maybe there's no convincing him. I thought this would turn us on his side and we could be buddies. What? No, it wasn't my fault. It was... Shut up. Don't try and get out of this. It doesn't matter why it happened. You weren't there. You weren't there when we needed you. You were... It wasn't my fault. Just shut up. Oh, God. This time, Hansen's fist connects with the side of his seat that yours is mounted to, making the whole thing shudder and activating the shock absorbers. Oh, God. With that, the two of you fall back into the uneasy silence. This time, though, you have no desire to rekindle any conversation, instead allowing the silence to stretch on for the remaining duration of the journey. That's fine. With no other sounds beyond the almost imperceptible background, the noise of the cockpit and Juno's monitor showing nothing but stars, your mind drifts, bouncing from thought to thought. The warmth of the cockpit and the gentle vibrations caused by the shuddering of the Juno's engines cause your thoughts to idle and slow. Eventually, without realizing it, you begin to drift off to sleep. You're almost completely gone when... Ah, cool. Both you and Hansen sit upright and fix your attention to the main monitor, although there's nothing to see beyond the stars, and the visual indicator that you know of the remains of the O'Brien is close by. We're here. Hansen mutters to himself as he begins to flick the switches on the control panel to his side. You watch as he silently as he works the pedals and the flight sticks to reduce the Juno's speed. Gundog, this is Gundog 1. We have target lock on the objective. I repeat, this is Gundog 1 and we have target lock on the objective. Dang, no signal. Hansen scowls at the communication screen as it returns nothing but static and an indication that it hasn't picked up any incoming signal. He quickly resets the switches on the control panel before activating them again. I repeat, Gundog, this is Gundog 1. We've got target lock on the objective. Do you read? I wonder why there's no communication. Piece of junk. His foot strikes the paneling underneath the main monitor, causing it to flicker momentarily, but doing nothing to help obtain a signal. Oh, there it is. With the O'Brien now visible. Oh, is that what our ship looks like? I guess it kind of does. That's interesting. Look at that shape. It's different. With the O'Brien now visible on your screen, you remain silent as Hansen continues to deactivate and reactivate the Juno's transmission system. Gundog, this is Gundog 1. We've got target lock on the objective. Repeat, Gundog, this is Gundog 1. We've got target lock. God damn it, Lord. Where the hell are you? Hello? Hello? This time, Hansen's fists strike the main monitor. Thankfully for both of you, the reinforced glass of its screen remains undamaged. You move as far away from Hansen as the restraints of your temporary seat will allow. You always knew he was hot-headed, but that didn't make this any easier to deal with. Try to calm him down. Let's try and calm him down. Hansen continues to attempt re-establishing contact with the Gundog. Each time he does, efforts are met with the same familiar static. Come on! What's wrong with this piece of crap? Gundog, come in! Ah, he's gonna break the ship. Hey, come on, take it easy. You tell him, holding both your hands up, palms forward, in a placating gesture. Don't you tell me what to do in my frame, Werf. Hansen snaps back, continuing to flip the switches and occasionally strike the controls. Ensign, that's not going to do any good. Yeah? What do you know? You can barely contain the long, exasperated sigh you feel building inside you, but you manage to not express it, knowing it will just set Hansen off more. Instead, you tell him what you remember the Chief telling you earlier. Before all this started, the Chief said that she was having problems with the long-range communication system. It was causing issues with our transmissions to the O'Brien, as well as the targeting system. It's probably not fixed yet. Might even have made it worse when the power went out. So what? We're going out here with no mission control? You pause, crossing your arms and shrugging. I guess so. Yeah, of course. Can't expect anything to go to plan when that ship's involved. Oh, man. This is Gundog 1, in case anyone out there can actually hear us. We're approaching the JFS O'Brien. We're carrying out the visual inspection of the O'Brien now. With the O'Brien now close enough for you to actually make out its finer details, Hansen deaccelerates the frame, bringing it to a nearly complete stop. Okay. Deftly adjusting the Juno's orientation, he then begins to circle the Swift-class ship as the two of you focus on the monitor, trying to identify anything out of the ordinary on the O'Brien before you get closer. Wait a second, is that? You point to the O'Brien's main airlock, and Hansen quickly sets the camera to zoom in on it. What do we got? It's open? Wide open. Looks like someone's tried the same stunt as you. No, that's not it. I closed the secondary airlock behind me. Both of those are open, which means the ship must be completely depressurized. Yeah, if that happened when the power was off, none of the emergency bulkheads would have been able to close. The two of you sit in silence, both considering what you've just found out. Everyone's dead. Fuck. If the same thing had happened to the O'Brien as the Gundog, and someone had opened both airlocks when what little breathable air was left on the ship would have been sucked out into space. Fuck. We've still got a mission to do. Come on. You nod silently in agreement as Hansen, apparently sobered up by that realization, moves the armored frame towards the airlock. This isn't necessarily the end, you think. If some of the crew were lucky, they might have been able to get their spacesuits on before they ran out of air. They'd be running low on oxygen by now, but... This is Gundog 1, docking with the O'Brien. Now, only meters away from the ship, Hansen begins to bring the Juno to a complete stop. With a surprising amount of delicacy, it has it reach out with one arm, grabbing hold of a protrusion from the ship and anchoring itself. All right, let's go. In a well-practiced motion, Hansen releases himself from the seat's harness, moves forwards and grabs the lever to open the cockpit's hatch. As soon as it's open, you feel the rush of the cockpit's air escaping. Meanwhile, Hansen pulls himself out and steps into the airlock. Having a slight harder time with the straps on your harness, it takes you a few moments longer to release yourself. Once free, you gather up the PST and the instructions the Chief had given you before making your own way out of the Juno. Okay. The two of you technically make your way from the airlock itself through the room beyond. Okay. Although nothing is obviously broken or wrong, the fact that you're standing in an area identical to the one in the Gundog, but open to space and completely uninhabitable, sends a shiver down your spine. Okay. You look at Hansen and see him mouthing something you can't hear. You continue to stand there in confusion as Hansen wordlessly gestures at you until he looks exasperated. It takes you a moment to realize what's going on, and you reach up to the radio in your chest panel, flickering the switch that activates it. It's about time you figured that out, sir. Hansen's voice crackles over the helmet speaker. Unlike the Juno, where the cockpit was pressurized so you could hear each other, you find yourself standing in complete vacuum, where no sound can travel. So what's the plan? You turn to survey the empty void of the airlock. The first priority given by the captain was in assisting the crew of the O'Brien to get their ship back online, but judging at the current state of things, you weren't sure you'd have much luck with that. The plan, you say to yourself more than to Hansen as you go over the current situation in your mind. That's right, Lieutenant. The plan. Right now, you've got rank, so without Lord screeching down our comms, the line is on you. Comms line, this is on you. Unless you're after a trip down memory lane and want to sit in the Juno's cockpit whilst I do everything? A mix of shame and anger swells inside you as you bite your tongue to not snap at Hansen with the first thing that comes to your mind. Stow it, Ensign. Despite the way he said it, he wasn't wrong. With nothing coming from the Gundog, you were now the highest-ranking officer involved with this mission. All right, first priority was to assist with the crew. It doesn't look like anyone's going to be in this part of the ship, but we still need to try. Since I've used the PST before, it's going to be easier for me to carry it out that search. Whilst I'm doing that, you can start removing the ship's black box. You hold up the manila folder that the chief has given you on the Gundog, and Hansen takes it from you, clumsily flicking through it with his gloved hands. It's on the bridge, huh? How are we going to get up there? Same way I did on the Gundog. Come on. Alright, you turn around and head into the ship, eventually arriving at the central hub. Okay, Lieutenant. Okay then, Lieutenant, now what? As you walk past Hansen to where the maintenance hatch is located, next to the elevators, you take the opportunity to quickly switch your radio off, tell Hansen exactly what he can do next, then switch it back on. That's funny. He's like, well, you could do it. It'd be stupid. What's next, Ensign, is this. You run your fingers down the seam between the panel and the wall and quickly find the catch. Unlike the one on the bridge, you're able to fit your suit's fingers into this one and quickly release it. Cool. As the hatch comes your way, you wait to feel the sensation of the air rushing out of the crawlway. Unfortunately, you feel nothing, confirming one of your fears you had about the ship and her crew. Placing the hatch down, you turn to Hansen, saying nothing about your discovery, and instead gesturing to the ladder. At the top of this ladder, you'll find another panel like this one that leads into the bridge. To release it, all you need to do is push on the catch from the inside. Think you can handle that? What do you think, Lieutenant? You're not dealing with some dumb security officer or anything. Let a pilot show you how it's done. With a swagger that's only exaggerated by the bulk of his suit, Hansen strides past you, steps into the access tunnel, and heads up the ladder. You take the opportunity to turn your radio off again and tell him what you really think about pilots. Okay, great. Once you're done, you switch it back on in case he sends down any transmissions. Now that you've sent him to work, it's up to you to find any of the survivors of the O'Brien's crew and help get their ship back online. You look around, empty central hub. The same silence has previously filled the Gundog, now filling your helmet. After a moment of contemplation, you head towards the first place you think it may be fruitful to explore. Access. Oh, that's funny. We can't do it. We have to do it. Well, sickbay. They'd probably go to sickbay, right? You rush out into the maintenance hallway and grab a rung on the ladder, and stepping forward, you place your feet into another rung you can barely see then. Instead of following Hansen up, you start moving downwards. As you descend, the crawlway eventually becomes completely dark. The only indication that you're given that you've reached the bottom is when you bring your foot down and sorry, unexpectedly stomp on a floor panel. Now at the bottom of this shaft, you grope around in the darkness, looking for a catch that will release the panel by the elevator into sickbay. After a few minutes of sliding your palms around blindly, your suit's gloves catch on something. You investigate it with your finger tips and confirm what you were looking for before, releasing it, grabbing the panel as it falls away, placing it to the side as you step in through to the sickbay. Yep. With no rush of air to indicate that you've depressurized the room, you were almost entirely certain you knew well what to expect, but you find it goes beyond that. Behind the desk, the desks set to meet those. After you enter sickbay, you see the crumpled form of someone wearing a white coat like Dr. Rosarium's. You quickly make your way over to them, but as you do, you stop momentarily as you feel something crunching underneath your boots. Looking around, you can see that the doctor is surrounded by broken glass. Taking stock of the room, you realize that the cabinet is at the far end of the sickbay, and you're still locked, but the glass have been shattered and their contents shattered. Instead of trying to puzzle what happened, you turn your attention back to the doctor, kneeling down by them and gently turning them over. You're faced with a woman who seems to be in her mid-50s, her sandy hair done up in a loose bun with errant strands tucked behind her ears. You notice that two of the lenses set into her round wire-framed spectacles, one is cracked and the other frames sit askew on her face. Okay. Although her pale blue eyes are wide open and staring at you, they don't move and she does not blink. Her skin is pallid, matching the cool blue of her eyes. The striking red hair of her lipstick standing out in dramatic contrast. You stay holding the doctor for a moment before gently laying her down, and with as much delicacy as you can manage in your bulky spacesuit, you close her eyes as you stand up to exhale deeply. Although it was almost certain this would be the scenario you'd be facing for most of the ship, since the central area had been depressurized with no safety measures engaged, you've been holding on to hope to find some crew members alive and well. Despite the sight of the doctor, you still hold on to that hope. As you survey the room, you turn your attention back to the glass underfoot and the shattered frontage of cabinets. What happened here? You walk up to one of the cabinets with broken glass frontage and gently pull its handle. As you'd expected, it's still locked and doesn't budge. Looking down at your feet amongst the various packets of medication that appear to have been hastily pulled out of the cabinet, you can see a selection of Nutri-Shake packets, all torn open. Picking one up, you check its contents and find it's completely empty. Could this really have happened over nutritional supplements? Maybe. Let's keep moving. Having made your way back into the maintenance crawlway, you work your way up into the darkness, the dull starlight from the airlock that illuminates the central hub, barely illuminating the exit above you. As you continue towards it, you pause as your radio hisses to life. Hello, Hanson? Lieutenant Commander Quinn from JFS Gundog. Cassie, what are you doing on this? We're picking up your signal and have arrived at the rendezvous area. Please transmit your precise coordinates. Over. Cassie, what are you? We read you. That's a sweet voice you've got there, Gundog. I'm transmitting the coordinates and our mission files update. Oh my god, was there time travel going on? Or is this just an old recording? It's good to see finally. What? What is this? This is from when... Roger that, JFS O'Brien. This is Lieutenant Commander Quinn from the JFS Gundog. We're picking you up on your signal and have arrived at the rendezvous area. Please transmit your precise coordinates. Over. We read you. That's a sweet voice you got there, Gundog. I'm transmitting coordinates and mission update files now. It's good to finally... The snippet of Okay, I was waiting for the static to go away. The snippet of conversation between Cassie and Lieutenant Bashir loops a few times until eventually fading out into static. With as little explanation as to why the transmission started, it ends. Whoa, would be transmitting that recording? Should we go to the bridge? Let's go to the bridge. As you make your way up the ladder towards the bridge, you find your progress slowed by the bulk of your spacesuit as it catches against various protrusions that stand out from the walls of the shaft. Despite having to stop multiple times to free you from these obstacles, you eventually see the faint outline of the entrance to the bridge above you. Clearing the remaining distance without incident, you step out from the hatch and onto the bridge. Okay. A lot of dead people. The absence of any signs of depressurization when you remove the panel of the central hub, as well as what you'd seen in the sickbay, had prepared you for what you were about to see. Knowing you were about to see it, however, did not make it any easier. At the station on the left, you see the slumped figure of a young man. From his uniform and general appearance, you recognize him as Lieutenant Bashir, the officer that Cassie had been speaking to moments before the power went out on the Gundog. Unlike when he'd appeared on one of the Gundog's view screens, the man you saw now had clearly suffered what looked like either a small explosion or massive electrical shock. Probably an EMP, I'm telling you. The front of his uniform was at its best singed and at its worst completely charred, as was the skin on his hands and face. Oh my god. You grimace at the thought of what could have happened as you turn your attention to the captain's chair. There, slouching on the right, was the ship's captain, a rictus smile on his face, having seemingly suffered a similar fate. Whatever had happened to these two, it looked like something entirely different to what had happened to the doctor in the sickbay. Although she'd clearly been injured by something or someone, the cause of death for these two looked much more obvious. Although the question remained, how? You paused for a moment. You'd almost put your hand down on the headset of the captain's chair, but you quickly moved away. If something else had electrocuted these two, then... pretty grim, right? Why are you shocked? We sent him up here. You almost fall backwards in surprise as Hansen's voice sounds suddenly from your helmet speakers, and he appears on the far side of the bridge, having emerged from underneath the control station on the right. Easy, Lieutenant. It's just me. What? Never seen a friend? What a fried human looks like? Can't speak. You take a deep breath and exhale, catching the breath that Hansen had just scared out of you. Damn it, Cruz! What the hell were you doing hiding underneath there? Following orders, sir. Remember the plan? Hansen lazily waves the folder you passed him at you. Wait, these guys look like they've been electrocuted based on where they are. Did you check? Loosen up, Lieutenant. Power's not on. What's there to check for? You can't help but be amazed at Hansen's cavalier attitude towards the risk of painful death via electrocution. Alright, how's retrieving the black box going? Not bad. I've managed to get most of the casing undone, but there's a lot going on in there, and this suit doesn't make it easy. What about you? Find anyone? You turn and look at the captain and Lieutenant Bashir for a moment before looking back at Hansen. I checked the sickbay and found the ship's doctor. She's dead too. Aside from her, these two are the only crew members I've managed to confirm. It's not looking good. I guess I keep saying things simple. No survivors. We get this box, then we get out of here. What? What, do you want to hang around here a bit longer? This was a whole crew, Hansen. Some might still be alive. I guess you better get looking and find them then, huh, Lieutenant? Ease up, Lieutenant. I can say this from experience. If everyone's dead, there's no use wishing they weren't. It's not going to bring them back. But if you're going to find them, you should get moving. Probably not much air left in here anywhere on the ship, even if they're lucky. Okay. With another shrug, Hansen walks away. You heading back to the control station. He was hidden. He was hidden under when you entered. Let me know when you're leaving, though. All right, Lieutenant. Okay. So clearly we need to get out and keep looking around more, which is fine. So anyway, let's go ahead and get moving to the central hub. I wonder where we should go next. But you know what? We'll figure that out in the next episode, guys, because we're about to wrap it up. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you all for watching. I've really enjoyed playing this series, going through it. I'm having a lot of fun. It's really cool. We're in a derelict spaceship now, right? I still personally think everyone's dead, but clearly the game implies someone's alive. obviously, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And I will definitely see you guys next time. Take care, everyone.